Today I went into the darkroom to develop 3 rolls of 35mm film. And this is what I got. All 3 rolls were completely clear. All 3. I don't think anyone does film photography because it's easy. Hello, my name is Todd and welcome to Film Camera Obsession, and today, the value of failure. So, when it comes to film photography, what I've learned is there's a certain level of perseverance that you need to maintain. You have to give yourself a license to fail, and when I started down this road a few years ago and decided to jump in with both feet into film photography, I gave myself that license to fail. My first reaction is always disappointment, that's natural. But my second reaction, which is the better one, is to kind of accept the process, learn from it, and realize where I went wrong. So as you can see from the film here, and let's pop it onto the light table, there's nothing. There's no film information, speed information, none of the barcodes. Everything from the sprockets to sprockets is completely clear. It's one of 2 things. The first is that maybe instead of putting in developer first, I put in fixer first. The second possibility, which is very likely, and I'll show you why in my darkroom here in a second, is that my developer failed. That is the likely culprit, and I'll show you why in my darkroom. Let's go check it out. So, what went wrong? It was one of 2 things. It was either confusing fixer and developer, or my developer died. If it was the first, then I poured fixer into my tank when I thought I was pouring developer. Or in my previous darkroom session, when I poured my fixer back into the bottle, instead of pouring it back in the fixer bottle, I poured it into the developer bottle. I don't think it was that one. I think it was the second one, that my developer died. And why do I think that? The date that I put on this bottle of developer was from, this is embarrassing to admit, it was from August of 2019. That's right, I had it around for almost a year. Now, how can I get away with that in the first place? Well, it's simple. Usually when I mix up a package of developer, I use EcoPro, I pour it into 2 half-gallon jugs. These are actually beer growlers I get at the thrift store because we have so many breweries where I live, and so these pop up a lot, and they're great. And so what that means is, as I went through most of this, 1 bottle got used up pretty quickly. The second bottle was sitting there, aged for a while, but it hadn't been opened. And I opened it, I used some, and then I stopped developing black and white for a while, and I was doing a lot more color developing using C41. And when I went back to it, it died in dramatic fashion, taking 3 rolls with it. So, in other words, what went wrong was that I was lazy. I didn't check my dates. I even had a new bag of EcoPro developer that I could have and should have mixed up and utilized that, and I wouldn't have lost those rolls of film. The funny thing about this batch of developer is that I had just developed a roll a week prior. Here are some of the results. They were from the Leica 2, that's from 1932. Some of them came out really wonderfully. Some of them are underexposed and overexposed and whatnot, and that's the shooting. That's my fault during shooting. But they developed, and the camera's working. There's no doubt that jumping into film photography has its learning curves, and I have hit them full on over the past few years. I've had a lot of good results, but I've also had my failures, and today was one of them. So basically what happened was that my developer expired. It died. But really, what it boils down to is me being lazy. To be fair to myself, I wouldn't even call it laziness. What I was doing was tempting fate, and it bit me in the ass. And I then have some lovely clear negatives. Not very good density. Should be pretty easy to scan. Thank you very much. Take care. Let's go develop some rules.